If someone you love started showing signs that they were in danger, real danger, and your family called you the problem for trying to protect them, would you stay silent to keep the peace, or speak the truth knowing it would blow everything up? Today we're breaking down the real story behind the argument against doing a background check, and why, in narcissistic family systems, truth-telling is treated like a betrayal. We'll unpack how this plays out in families like mine, how safety gets twisted into disrespect, and how the scapegoat always becomes the threat, just for seeing the truth. Hello, truth tellers. Welcome back to the ADHD Scapegoat podcast. I'm Angie.
I'm Jeremy. This episode includes discussions of family conflict, threats, and domestic abuse patterns. Please take care while listening, and if anything here feels familiar or unsafe, we'll include resources like the Ask Amy app and the National Domestic Violence Hotline in the show notes. So I think people hear background check and instantly picture something extreme or invasive, but in your case, it wasn't about digging for dirt. It was it was about protecting someone you love when something clearly wasn't right. So how did doing something for safety turn into a crime in your family's eyes?
Well, so in emotionally immature families or narcissistic families, there's this unspoken rule that we're not going to acknowledge anything that makes us look bad. So by investigating his background, I wasn't just gathering facts in their mind. I was symbolically challenging their denial, this delusional reality they live in. And in doing that, in their minds, I did something that no one is supposed to do, which is question appearances. And me taking action forced them to look at something they were determined to not see, not look at, not deal with. So me putting this in front of their face, having them to actively ignore it, that's intolerable to them. They're worried about how they look to everybody else. Or the whole idea of this doesn't happen to people like us. That entitled, that whole entitled attitude. And here's the thing, that when I'm bringing this information, the result wasn't gratitude or concern. It was just silence and smear campaigning behind my back, which I talked about in the last episode. I was ghosted, given the silent treatment, and accused of being nosy and invasive by using the word over and over, meddling. But, come on, be real. This wasn't about privacy. It was about protecting their denial. These are public records.
Right. But you dug them up, you meddler.
Right.
It's just so crazy.
So I've brought Dr. Lindsay Gibson up before, but she talks about the emotional immaturity masquerading as morality. That it's not that they believe that you're wrong. It's that they need you to stop threatening their harmonious, happy illusion.
Yeah. The rule is keep quiet, even if it means pretending someone dangerous is safe.
Yeah. Illusion matters more than reality and the truth.
Right. That abuse is no one else's business.
I mean, that's what it is.
That's what they're saying.
And here's the thing, the hierarchy of this is part of that entitlement. It's part of the narcissistic family unit, the control. So, the narcissist controls the narrative. The enablers maintain that narrative, and then the scapegoat exists to absorb all the blame. So when I acted on my intuition, I made a judgment call, and I took initiative, I shattered that hierarchy. So in doing that to them, I stepped out of line. I am not playing my role. I acted autonomously. I made a judgment call, and I sought the truth because nothing was making sense. And what's the saying? It's like, usually when stuff doesn't add up, it's because truth isn't involved in the equation. It's missing. So doing that, I'm punished. It wasn't just that I actually overstepped. It's that I showed leadership. I showed discernment, which in their minds is defiance. That's why the ADHD Scapegoat name exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, they said, I don't like all the meddling. That translation is stay small, stay silent, stay powerless.
You said something a minute ago that gave me a brilliant idea. Should we trademark a blame sponge? Because you said the scapegoat absorbs all of these,
right.
all of the blame, right? All of the judgments.
I like.
You don't love it.
Okay,
it's fine. Listen.
I mean, it needs some work, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't disagree. Okay.
Yes. Clean up your family secrets with the blame sponge.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, keeps working. Okay.
I'll workshop it. I'll come back. We'll circle back. Circle back. So according to Lundy Bancroft, abusers rely on enablers who do the dirty work of social control. Families like this enforce silence so the abuse can continue unnoticed.
Right. They're not protecting the victim. They're protecting their own comfort. So they're calling me selfish while they're being insanely selfish and to the detriment of others that they're supposed to love and care about.
Yeah,
my autonomy, and it's always been this way since I spoke up as a kid, it's betrayal. ADHD scapegoats, we're not nosy. We're pattern seers. We spot the truth. We're the ones who pay attention when it's easier to look away. Period. Sorry. I was going with that, and then
That's great.
You had a thought.
I try to jump in because the silence, I think the whole idea of the abuse happening out of sight, out of mind type of situation where the arguments of, well, you dug up this past, there's no reason that you should have done that. The signs were there.
Right.
The only reason you were prompted to do the background check because you saw abusive patterns.
Mm-hmm. And change in her character patterns.
Right.
Right.
And, even if your parents didn't see it because, like on the family FaceTimes that we were on, that we saw it and heard it, or where you first saw it and heard it, and then when you were on a call with your sibling and it was very blatant, when those get reported back to your parents, I see how they could very easily be like, oh, well, I didn't see it. So, it's probably nothing, and it's dismissed, because that's how abuse has been dismissed in your family your entire life, right?
Generations and generations of that, yeah.
Yeah. The idea that we know your dad saw it firsthand. Mm-hmm. He saw the abuse happening. He saw abusive behavior. And whether he just wrote that off as, well, we know he wrote it off at least once, as he's definitely got some growing up to do. Mm-hmm. That was,
I think, but that's the part of it, is that why isn't the the natural, like their natural lean toward believing their children and saying, hey, this person I care about is pointing something out. Maybe I should look into that, rather than just like, oh no, none of that's happening.
Well,
like what?
That's their upbringings though too, because probably a very long time ago when they were children and they saw abuse happening, because we know that abuse was present in your parents' childhoods. When they pointed it out, they were probably told to shut up and mind their own business, right? And it's that trauma that trickles down, generational trauma. It's, well, this is how I was raised, and I mean, your dad flat out told you,
right?
I was raised like this, and I think I turned out okay.
I just touched the mic just when you told me not to touch the mic. I totally just did it.
It's all right.
This is so funny.
But
yeah, I think, but that's the whole thing is, yeah, but you didn't like that when you were a kid. So that's the part of the immaturity where there's zero self-reflection, or to be able to even look back and go, oh, when I was their age, or even, I experienced something similar, I understand where they're coming from. Let me ask a couple more questions about why they're concerned, or any of that. Like that doesn't happen with them.
You have a desire to stop the pattern of abuse. They don't have that desire.
I know. And
they have the attitude, this happened to me, so if it's happening to you, you probably deserve it.
Right. It's threatening their denial, which consciously or unconsciously is their loyalty to abuse in general, not necessarily to this specific abuser, but, the family would rather, believe that I'm dramatic than believe that their delusion of this perfect, safe, harmonious world isn't real, and it could be disrupted. Acknowledging what I found would force them to admit they missed red flags, admit they raised their child to normalize abuse, and confront that the family's image is a lie. So instead, they just redirect all of their discomfort onto me. You're meddling, meaning you're intrusive. You're overreacting or being dramatic. You're trying to ruin things or break them up. It's deflection and projection and textbook gaslighting, where they're trying to make me question my motives, or they assume my motives, which is utterly absurd, just so they don't have to face reality. They don't have to look at the truth.
Right.
I mean, sit with that. How does that make sense?
The irony is that they would rather protect an image than actual people.
Right.
Than their own offspring.
And here's the thing. The whole idea of the family's moral code to this discovery of stuff, the background check was just some facts that I found that unfortunately confirmed what I feared. A pattern of violence and harm that I could not unsee. Like, it wasn't a rumor, it wasn't exaggeration, it wasn't being dramatic. This was literally just facts, court records, that's it. And trust me, I know people can say that, background checks don't always get it right, and there's definitely some. I cross-referenced, I investigated, I connected dots. Oh no, maybe that's not a parent or a step sibling or any, I did all of that work to make sure that dates added up, timelines, everything came together from what I found. It was real. It was a kind of discovery that makes your stomach drop out. And not only because of what I found or that I found it, But because I realized that I was absolutely right to look for it.
Yeah. And what was the family's reaction?
Their way was defending this shared delusion because the truth would expose everyone's part in maintaining it. So the only supportive thing I could do was share the truth to try and keep my loved ones safe. My intent was support, and my family framed it as an attack. It's crazy.
It's just, it's so hard to believe. You know, it's
especially
one thing.
that's why we talk about it on here, because, and we talk so openly about it, because it's hard to believe if you haven't experienced it, or, you know, like, if you haven't experienced it, like, I think that's such a gift to not experience it. It's like, it's definitely something that opens your eyes. But, like, you can't shut down that other people don't experience it. Like, you need to understand what these things look like. Like, that's critical thinking, understanding what's going on. You don't, and that's part of empathy too. Empathy is not like, oh, I've been there, I know exactly what you're going through. Empathy is like, I may not understand what you're going through, but I believe you, and I'm here to support you. Like, you don't have to have the same exact experience with this person that I did. But why aren't you believing that that was my experience?
The idea that, because they all know, your whole family knows, except probably for the person who is married to this person, your whole family knows exactly what was on the background check. They know the full extent of all of the crimes that this person committed. And their response has, from day one, their only response has been, why would you do a background check on this person? That is being nosy. You have no right to do that. Knowing full well the extent of the horrific crimes that this person committed, they have never once acknowledged how heinous this person is. And they're essentially saying, with their silence, I don't even care that they did this.
Yeah, that's what silence speaks, is that I'm okay with this happening to you.
Yes, that's what they're saying to your family member who is in the abusive relationship.
Right.
They're saying, I'm okay with this happening to you, by them not speaking up about it. And the way that they make up for that is through supportive Facebook messages, periodic phone calls, infrequent visits, mailed gifts on holidays and birthdays. The family members who are supporting the abuse have the delusion that all of those things make up for the dismissal and support of the abuse.
And putting it under the framework that they're happy.
Right.
They're happy.
I don't see any abuse. They're happy.
Right.
It's very sad and it's very scary.
It is, and that's,
I can just hear them in my head every time I say something like that. Why is it scary? What's scary about it? They're adults.
right.
They're fine.
And it's just a complete disconnect from reality. It's a complete disconnect of familial relationship.
Morals.
Yeah, a disconnect from, well, morals are fluid. Whatever works for them in the moment.
Right.
Is where their moral standing is. So it's just laughable. But, yeah.
Yeah, when you showed me the extent of the charges, I realized that the family wasn't asking you to support your sibling. They were asking you to abandon your values.
Right. Mocking my values. Mocking my intuition. Mocking my genuine care for connection. As if any of those things are flaws.
I think that there's no part of them that could even fathom true empathy. Why would you really care so much about someone that you would do a background check to make sure that they weren't in an abusive relationship with someone that they met on a dating site that no one has ever met in person? They cannot fathom that level of connection or caring. And so it is viewed as abhorrent to them, and they attack it.
Well, and it's that disconnect. I feel like we brought it up before, but it's that disconnect of like, I see that stuff on Dateline, but that could never happen to us. But like, okay, you've seen it on Dateline. These are real people on Dateline that they're interviewing. These are real situations where family members are usually killed. And you're just above all that could never happen to you. It's not like a doom and gloom to be like aware of your surroundings and pay attention to toxic patterns of behavior. That's not doom and gloom. But it's critical thinking. It's using your fucking brain.
But they have a playbook. Remember, they can play both sides. They can attack you over and over again until something actually happens. Mm-hmm. And they can flip on a switch and play a victim. So when they're on Dateline, they can tell their side of the story of how like, oh, we never saw this person.
Even though, right.
I never would have imagined. They were always pleasant to us. They visited, et cetera, et cetera. We've seen it time and time again. Your older brother played the victim. I can't believe I didn't see it. Mocking you all the while, but, I shouldn't, I should have seen it sooner. I was treated this way. Definitely shouldn't have said this to this person or us or played the victim and then turned right around and decided, you know what, that's not good enough. Your dad played the victim. Mm-hmm. He sent you messages, or he sent your brother messages because he experienced abuse from this person.
No, he sent it to all three of us.
Okay, to all three of you. I guess I'm on the outside now. He experienced the abuse firsthand and immediately became the victim.
And then came to us for support.
Came to you for support.
Now we're going to support him.
Yeah. Okay. Or be an adult. Be a father. Stand up to it. And you know what? He's gone right back to supporting this person.
He doesn't support anybody, but...
Well, right.
But yeah, like the level of support.
Support through silence.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole... I can't ever wrap my head around the complete hypocrisy of image over safety. And they're always presenting like I have malicious intent. Since I was a kid, I have malicious intent. Kids don't have malicious intent. Kids are doing things out of survival. And I didn't even do anything bad. It was just always malicious intent because I spoke the truth and I wasn't afraid to speak the truth, whether it was an adult or whether it was, another kid my age. I called it out. And that's the thing about abusive people is they see other abusers and you would think that, it's not like they're like buddy-buddy. But they also really try to minimize what this other abuser is doing, because they know that if you look into that person, maybe you're going to see how abusive I am, you know? Instead of being like, oh, crap, that you're talking about that person? I kind of do that. Maybe I need to change. I do that too. Shit, you're right. That's not good. That doesn't happen. And here's the thing. I did not commit any of these offenses. I didn't isolate anyone. I didn't send threats. I never sent any messages or talked to that person ever. But I did expose the truth, and that apparently is unforgivable. My parents and 2 of my siblings haven't spoken to me in years because I speak the truth and they don't want to talk about the truth. They're demanding something impossible, that I choose blind loyalty over basic safety. It's true betrayal. And when they say you're not being supportive, like, break down the impossibility of that demand. How am I supposed to show support when this couple, the one being abused really, is ghosting me? What does support look like in their eyes? And just pause, let's pause on that word, supportive. Because when they say that, what they're really trying to, what are they trying to get you to do? To me, support is honesty and kindness and connection, even when things are difficult. Support means having hard conversations, and, repairing when things break, and it's, everyone goes ups and downs. It's life. And you're able to strengthen your connection as you go through it with honesty and kindness. To them, is it silence? Is me showing support being silent? Is it compliance, doing whatever this person says? I think it's both. And, domestic violence experts like Lundy Bancroft, who we already brought up, explain that, abusers and enabling families prioritize secrecy and loyalty over safety, but the family's behavior is a DARVO tactic. And in domestic abuse, DARVO, if you don't know, it's deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. So they shift the focus from the felony charges to the boundary of the investigation of that information. They flip it. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender.
Yeah, it's easier to demonize you than admit that they were wrong about him.
Right. And I think that was the moment. There are many moments that were like aha moments where it clicked. And just knowing, they don't care about the truth. Thinking you're bringing this, it'll bring people together. My pain didn't matter. The evidence didn't matter. The patterns of behavior that were so obvious didn't matter. My loved one's safety didn't matter. They can pretend happiness is there. When 3 of her siblings are being threatened, okay, she's happy. They are only worried about themselves. Sitting there calling me selfish because I want to keep a relationship with a loved one. While they are literally putting her in the hands of an abuser and claiming happiness even when they have all of this information. And they're terrified of this external truth, talking to people about it, because it exposes their complicity to it. Period. They're allowing it. Just like you said, the silence is saying it's okay.
Right.
And I read a post on Instagram one time where this person said, You know, I hope that person does to you what they did to me. And the person responds with, how dare you say that? Oh, so you do know it's wrong. Seriously. When you put that because they only think of themselves, how dare you say that? Why would you say something so hateful? Oh, so what's happening to me is okay. But if it were happening to you, oh. I mean, it's so clear.
Yeah. And that's the moment that every scapegoat recognizes, is that you'll never be seen as good by those people, because they need you to play the role of the problem.
Right. And that it's the people that have a problem with you running a background check are the ones with something to hide. If there's stuff on the background check that they did, but now they're truly reformed, they've made changes, they wouldn't fear questions. They'd expect them. They might not welcome them, but they'd expect them. Or, you know, hey, this whole family has known each other for their whole lives. This new person is here. We want to ask some questions to get to know them to make sure we're protecting our family member. That's not allowed here. People who have nothing to hide don't launch smear campaigns or send threats when you start talking to people and asking questions. They don't panic when the truth gets too close. They rage when exposure feels imminent. And that's what happened here.
I think it's very telling that your older brother had more questions about your relationship with me and questioned, you know, are you moving too fast? You know, and had more questions about your older sister's relationship with her partner. I think because he saw, oh no, here's some good people who are going to see right through me.
They're gonna be supportive of my sisters, and I can't have that.
He had more questions about these other two spouses than he did about this other person.
Well, and the thing is I don't know what he had asked her, but whatever he asked her, it obviously turned a blind eye, because he came to us with a ton of information, and then within, you know, a 48-hour period was completely in support of them instead of what he had told us, 2 days prior. So that's the moral compass is fluid and self-serving.
Right. So we're going to provide links to some resources in the show notes, one being 10 Ways to Spot Deceptive Coercive Control, and a Psych Central domestic violence quiz you can take, as well as an article, Dating Safety, Why Background Checks Matter in Modern Relationships.
If this episode reminded you that silence protects abusers, not survivors, pass it on to someone who's done being quiet. Like, subscribe, and leave a review, and come back next week. Until then, stay curious, stay clear, and keep telling your truth.